Thank you. Those were beautiful readings, Amanda. I know at one time I really worked at being peaceful because I didn't understand the concept that peace comes from obedience to God. And then no other way can it be obtained. You can't conjure it up. You can't fake it. It has to be that inner peace that you get when you have a feeling of oneness with the Father from obedience to Him. Last week, one day late in the afternoon, I'd had a very busy day, and I found that one of my hands was extremely painful. I felt as if I had sprained it or something. I could barely move it. And so I quietly finished my tasks for the day with my one hand that was working. And I went up to my room just to have some quiet to pray for myself. And one of the thoughts that came, and it had been in a recent lesson, and it was in Science and Health, in the preface, where Mrs. Eddy says, "The physical healing of Christian Science results now, as in Jesus' time, from the operation of divine principle, before which sin and disease lose their reality in human consciousness and disappear as naturally and as necessarily as darkness gives place to light and sin to reformation." And what struck me so were those two words, naturally and necessarily. And when I thought back on the healings that I've had in science, and there have been so many, they didn't come with trumpets blaring and and all kinds of fireworks. They came very quietly and naturally. In fact, almost where I didn't even notice it was happening. I mean, one minute I was having all this terrible troubles, and just as the light dissipates the darkness left, and I could see clearly, and I could see what a beautiful world God has created, and all the perfection all around me. And that is how healing occurs, quietly, naturally, and also necessarily. It has to be, because that's the truth of your being. So I thought about that statement. That's all I thought about. And then I got ready for bed. My hand still ached quite a bit, but I trusted God with it. And I had a good night's rest. And in the morning, my hand was 95% back to normal. And very quickly, by the end of the morning, it was completely healed. And I was so grateful to God. And I felt that naturalness and that also the necessary part of the healing. And I know, I've heard people with problems, and as a practitioner, and sometimes then I don't hear about the problem anymore, and later I'll ask, and oh yeah, that was healed. And then I've heard other times when maybe the problem wasn't healed, and people get more and more and more upset over it. So please, when a problem does heal, and it seems so natural, give God that credit. Thank Him. It wouldn't have happened any other way. God is our great physician. He is our healer. And there's nothing too big or too small for Him. I'm so grateful for this lesson. I'm so grateful for dear Mrs. Eddy, for the wonderful meeting tonight, for all of you who are demonstrating this wonderful way of life that blesses us and all mankind.